When you want a break from hacking and slashing at large monsters, you can get your fishing rod out, slow things down, and relax by the water's edge. Fishing in Monster Hunter Wilds is fairly straightforward to start, but if you want to complete every fishing side quest, there are a few tricks to know. Here's how to complete every fishing side quest, unlock every fishing lure, and earn all trophies and achievements related to fishing. You can start the fishing side quests by talking to Kanya at the Scarlet Forest base camp during Chapter 1, and you will unlock more of her quests as you progress through the story.
Hail, fisher fellow! Are they biting today?
You can use the timestamps below to jump to a specific quest if you're looking for help with a particular fish. She will provide you with new lures for a different fish she asks you to find. So it's worth completing these missions if you're going after the more difficult fish and the fishing trophies and achievements. Let's go over the basic fishing controls, as the game doesn't do a great job of explaining all parts of the fishing minigame. Equip your fishing rod from your item bar with square or X. Once in your hand, stand near a body of water, hold the left trigger to aim your fishing line into the water, and then press right trigger to cast. Once you've dropped a line, you can control the lure in a few different ways. Holding the left stick to the left or the right will cause the lure to drift in those directions, which is a convenient way to reposition. Tapping a direction on the left stick will cause the lure to bob around in the water. You can reel in your line gradually or quickly by rapidly pressing up and down on the left stick at different speeds. The faster you move the stick, the faster your line will be reeled in, and vice versa. Finally, to bring your line in immediately, press right trigger again to whip the line out of the water. It's important to know all of these controls going forward, as some fish only respond to lures when they behave in a certain way. It's also worth noting that while you can catch fish with your capture net, this won't count towards your quest progression at all, so you're going to have to get comfortable with the fishing line. Now, let's get started with Kanya's first quest. When you talk to Kanya, she'll ask you to catch any fish from anywhere. You can use the pond right beside her as a convenient starting point. This quest is dead simple. You could just catch whichever fish happens to take the bait first. When a fish fully bites your lure, press right trigger to hook it and reel it in. Now just talk to Kanya to finish the quest. For her second task, Kanya will ask you to catch a goldenfish. These are available in most of the maps in places where the water is calm and there is little to no direct sunlight, like in caves. A convenient and reliable place that we found them in was Zone 8 of the Scarlet Forest. You can find this cave by walking through the waterfall. By the way, this is genuinely just a good camp location that you may want to have set up for future hunts. Kanya gave you 2 lures, including a golden bughead lure to help you catch these fish a bit easier. You can change your equipped lures by first equipping your fishing rod and then holding L1 or left bumper and pressing X or A, or triangle or Y to cycle up and down through your list of equipable lures. These are permanent equipment items that you won't lose, so use them however you like. You could fish near the tent or dive over to a nearby outcropping, but both locations should have goldenfish. Cast your line out and they quickly snap up your lure.
Time for a true master angler to shine.
Feel free to catch all the fish here so you can sell their scales later for zenny. Now head back to Kanya to finish the quest. The third task is to catch a Gravid Bowfin. Catching this fish grants you a cooking ingredient that you can use to prepare for hunts, so you may want to do this from a hunting perspective too. Gravid Bowfin are similar to Virid Bowfin that you might have already seen, except they're red instead of green and much rarer to find. Kanya says they most frequently appear during dawn or dusk, and usually during the season of plenty. You could change the time of day and the season by resting at your tent. We found ours at the Desert Oasis in the Windward Plains during these same weather conditions, but they can appear in most biomes. The bowfins respond well to the second lure that Kanya gave you before, the Emerald Jitterbait, so make sure you have that equipped. They're a little slower to pick up the line compared to other fish, so you may need to catch a few of the easier fish first in order for the bowfin nearby to have a chance. They usually react well to a line that is actively being reeled in, but once they've started nibbling, feel free to slow your reel down so you don't bring it in too far. Hook them and bring them in once they bite, and that's that. Head back to Kanya to finish the quest. Next up, it's time to catch a new class of fish, a Whopper. To start off, Kanya will give you 2 new lures, the Tough Joint Bait and the Duster Rig. Both of these lures attract different types of Whoppers, so they'll both work for this quest. Kanya suggests that Whoppers tend to be found in areas of water that are deep and vast, so we recommend going to the top of the Scarlet Forest in Area 17 to the Great Lake. There's another spot here in the ruins to set up a safe pop-up camp, which we strongly recommend that you do, as you'll likely be coming back here a lot if you want all of the fishing related trophies in the game. We've found different types of Whoppers here at all different times of day and under all weather conditions, but which specific types of Whopper you find will depend on these various factors. You might also see swirling pools of fish here at different times, and these areas are great places to try to catch all types of fish, including Whoppers. You can also catch them out in the still water of the lake too. Wiggle your lure and reel it back in different ways depending on the different fish you come across. Catching a Whopper works very differently to catching normal fish. You need to actively work to tire the Whopper out while making sure your line doesn't break. To start, you need to hook the Whopper like normal with right trigger, but then you'll need to follow the direction that the fish travels in with your left stick to keep the tension on the line low. This means tracking it left and right until it gets tired enough for you to reel in. You'll know it's time to reel in when the fish stops moving and your character raises the fishing rod up into the air. You won't be able to reel in the fish all the way during this window, so you'll need to do this whole process successfully a few times to get the fish close enough to finish the minigame. Once they are close enough, your hunter will throw them up and out of the water. Some different Whoppers can also jump out of the water while fighting against you, and you need to match their direction of travel with the left stick while also making sure to re-hook them with the right trigger so they don't break free of the line. And that's your first Whopper caught. There is a trophy in the game for catching 30 of these, so if you're after that platinum, you'll just need to catch 29 more. For now though, we can return to Kanya to report our success. For Kanya's final request, she's asked you to catch a rare variant of a rare fish, the Escunite, specifically the Grand Escunite. To do this, she gives you the Tentacle Jig, which helps to lure in monsters that have tentacles or feelers. Escunites are exclusively found within the Scarlet Forest and are partial to caves and still waters. You may have seen 1 or 2 of these creatures already at the Grand Lake or cave spots that we pointed out to you. We found our Grand Escunite in the lake underneath the Wudwud's hideout. This was during the season of plenty and at nighttime. The Grand Escunite variant is very easy to identify because it has glowing blue tentacles. They're not too hard to catch once you know how. The trick is to place the lure down in front of their tentacles, as this is where they see and where they catch. Thankfully, this isn't a Whopper fish, so just hook it once it bites and it's all yours. Report to Kanya one last time, and that's it for the fishing side quests. Now you've unlocked all the lures and are ready to take on every fishing task ahead of you. Speaking of fishing tasks, there is one more fishing trophy for catching a Goliath squid, and while it's not part of the side quests per se, we figured we'd wrap up this video by showing you this one too. The Goliath squid is made easier to catch thanks to the tentacle jig that you were just given, and it can only be found in the Scarlet Forest during the nighttime. We found ours during the downpour at the Great Lake, so we couldn't see it very clearly, but according to its description, it glows to scare off its prey. If you come back here during clearer weather, you may be able to see it more clearly. Equip your tentacle jig, cast it out, and once you hook the squid, you'll need to treat it as a Whopper. It is a Goliath after all. It doesn't really jump up out of the water much, so just reel it in when it's tired, and soon you'll unlock the Monster Squid Hunter achievement. That's all of the fishing side quests covered in Monster Hunter Wilds, but this is just one chain of side quests in this game. If you need help with the endemic life side quests, monster hunts, finding certain materials, or anything else, check out our ever-evolving Monster Hunter Wilds wiki. For all other things Monster Hunter, gaming, and more, stick with IGN.
You're struggling to contain the angling urge, I can tell. Why resist?